What's up, everyone? It's Matt Mrozic, aka MVM397. So continuing work on the Sinanju. Let me show you where I am so far on this kit. So I base coated it in that chocolate brown that I showed you guys. I had to mix up some extra, and then I went in and I did my highlighting with Plamo Color Fiery Orange. So the shading may not show up very well in here because you're in a reflection. So that's after the shading or the highlighting. So now what I'm doing is I want to break this up with some other tones. So I'm doing a fade job. Basically, I'm fading the edges of the armor. And since the client gave me a picture of a sunset, I'm basically going to make the armor look like a sunset. So far what I've done, I've gone through and I've done quite a few pieces, but to give you an idea of what this looks like is right there. So we have the base highlight there, and then you can see I've done a fade job there on the tips of this. And I'm going to go in with one more color, actually a pretty bright yellow, right along the edges, just right on the very edge. Right now my fade goes right to about here, and which is what I want. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to have to plug my camera here for a minute because the battery's about to die, but I'm going to plug it in for a little bit and continue the video in a second. Okay, continuing on. Hopefully my camera won't die. So I was showing you that part of that backpack with the fade job. Here is the shield, or the bottom part of the shield at least. I think that's showing up pretty good in the camera. Let's see. You kind of see it there. So it's brighter at the bottom. My color balance is going to go wonky on me because this camera tries to autocorrect in this orange. So I was going to try to add probably some blue and some green to the picture, so sorry about that. But you can see how it fades there. Basically, like, you know, the skirts, basically anything pointy, it's going to get a fade job. You can kind of see it there. Let's see if I do this. There you go. You can see it there. So let me show you how to do that. It's actually really, really simple. So what I've done is for this other secondary color, it's Plamo Color Bright Orange. It's about, I'd say a full shade to 2 shades brighter than the other color. And since my base color was that chocolate brown, this is a really, really warm color scheme. Although he liked my Sazabi, that base coat on that was kind of a grayish red. This brown is really warming up this orange. It's going to look like a fire, like it's on fire. So it'll look really cool when it's done. So let me show you how I'm doing the fade job for the secondary color. And let's see, I'm going to do one of these leg armors right here. So I'm going to come in with my airbrush, and I'm just going to kind of fade this edge right here, and I'm going to do both sides. So what I've done is I've taken the Plamo Bright Orange, I've over-thinned it a little bit. Instead of my normal, like the Plamo colors, it's either 1:1 or 1 part paint to half a part thinner, depending on the color, because it's pretty thin. So I've over-thinned this a little bit. It's 1 part paint to like 1 1/4 part thinner. So I wanted to go on kind of like a transparent color. I don't want it a solid tone. I've also increased my, this is the one of the few times I actually increased my air pressure. I've bumped it up to about 30 psi, so the paint will atomize better. So I'm going to have to turn my air compressor on because I lose pressure pretty quickly. I'll leave the spray booth off so you guys can maybe hear me, but if it gets too dusty, I'll have to turn it on. So I'm going to try to talk over the airbrush or the compressor if it wants to turn on. Come on. There it goes. My air compressor is dying. I think I have to get a new one shortly. So I've got my airbrush here, got my paint inside, got it over thin. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm doing this through camera, which is difficult. I'm going to take this, I'm going to spray up at it because I want the brightness to be right on this edge, and I want to fade it up towards the center of the part. And I'm going to bring it up to probably right about here, and it's going to hit this spot a little bit, so it's no big deal. I'm going to start with the underside first. So I'm going to come up and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to just do this. I'm going to dust it in real light. And you can see it getting brighter already. Just like that, okay? And I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit the edges. Again, spraying in the direction that I want the paint to fade. So what's happening is when you spray paint out of an airbrush or any type of air gun, the paint comes out in a fan pattern like this. So your concentration of paint is in the middle, and then it fades off to the outer edges. So your concentration of paint would be in the middle, and it gets thinner toward the edges. So I'm using this kind of if my fingers were on my spray pattern, this is the center, and these are, and my pinky and the pointer are the edges. I'm basically using like these two fingers or these two fingers, no dirty jokes, to apply the paint. So I want it to hit pretty heavy in the center, but I want it to fade off into the distance. So hopefully that makes sense. So I've already got the inside done a little bit, and I'm going to hit it again. This paint dries down quite a bit, so it'll get quite a bit darker after it dries. So I'm going to break this stick actually because it's too long to be in frame while I'm doing this. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to just hit it just like this. And I'm just basically, when I pull the airbrush, I'm doing this motion right there. Okay, my camera may die, guys, sorry. But I'm just going boom, 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 boom. I'm kind of pumping it. Just like that. I'm just misting it on. And you can see it getting brighter right there on the camera, which is good. You can see that. So I got the edges pretty bright the way I want. And I'm gonna tilt my, so right before that I was spraying pretty much parallel to the part. I'm gonna tilt my part just a little bit so I get more paint going up to towards the top or the middle of the part. So to do these fade jobs, it's all about thinning your paint, a higher air pressure for better atomization, and all about the angle of how you apply the paint. So this goes relatively quickly because I don't want a whole lot. I'm going to do the inside just a little more. It's dried down, so it's a little bit darker. Not that you're going to see this part. You'll see this if you open up the armors. You know, you can open these leg armors. And it's actually looking pretty good. So you can, let me show you the difference between the two. So right is without, left is with. So pretty simple. I'll repeat the process again real quick so you can see it. But if I wasn't talking, it would literally take me about 10 seconds to do this per part. So I'm going to start with the back side, spraying from the bottom of the part up because I want the concentration of the color at the bottom. Spray the edges real quick because those will get the grunt of the highlight. And then again, I'm going to spray kind of like this. I'm going to spray from the bottom up. Again, pumping the airbrush, going boom, boom, boom. You can hear it. Doing that so I get the coverage I want. So now I'm going to tilt the part towards me a little bit more to get a little more on the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop there and I'm going to compare the two pieces to see how similar they are. So I want them close. They don't have to be perfect, but so the one on the left is a little brighter still, which means it's got more paint. So I'm going to just do this again one more time. I'm going to tilt the part towards me a little bit more. I need to get a little more paint. I need to get a little more paint right here on the top surfaces. So I'm going to tilt it towards me a little bit more. Again, just kind of pumping that airbrush. I'm not putting this on wet. It's another thing about overthinking the paint. Even though I'm not putting it on real heavy or real wet, it'll even out real nicely. So it won't go on dusty or dry. It won't have a dry feel to it. So I think we're good. So let's look at that again with the other piece. So those look pretty close. So that's the second color. So I'm going to go through and finish doing this up, and then when I get to the third color, I'll show you that. Stay tuned. Okay, so I've got all the first color sprayed of the fade job. So the second color I'm going to do is this golden yellow. Now this is pretty bright, but as I mentioned before, with all the dark undertones, it's going to dry down quite a bit. And I've done a few pieces, and this is a slightly different technique. So I just want to get the very edges of each piece. I don't want it to fade so much into the part. So it's a little different. So we're going to kind of do the exact opposite. But here you can see that just right on the edge of that piece is I've got that highlight going on. So it goes from that kind of bright yellow to a mid-tone orange to that nice deep warm orange. This is going to look really slick once I get all the decals on and everything. Gives that little pop of white. And with the metallic purple frame and everything, this is going to look really slick. I'm really excited about how this is going to look at the end. It's one of the few paint jobs I've done in a while where I know exactly what it's going to look like in the end. And I haven't tested any of these colors, by the way. Like I've always said, I just kind of wing my color schemes. And I've actually had this kit primed for a couple weeks, and I just kind of muddled in my head what I wanted to do, because I kept thinking sunset, oranges, and purples and whites. So I decided on a fade job. Instead of doing like on the Suzabi where I had like 3 different shades of orange and each armor was a different color orange, I basically base coated everything the same color, and I'm going to get my color variations through these fade jobs I'm doing. So let me show you how to do this secondary color, or the third color I should say. So I've done the same thing. I've overthinned my paint just a little bit, got my PSI cranked up to about 30, and make sure my airbrush is spraying correctly. So now on this one, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what I did on the first time. The first time I did this, I faded and I was going in, I was fanning it up that way, and I was just kind of loosely doing it. I need this a little more precise, so I'm actually going to go the exact opposite way. I'm going to spray from, instead of coming this way, I'm going to spray this way. I'm going to get fairly close to the piece, and I'm just going to very lightly put the paint on as I go. So I'm barely pulling this. Before when I was fading, I was doing this. I was pumping the trigger that much. Now I'm just going very little. Just a little bit of paint's coming out. So I just want that edge. I don't want the whole. And you can probably see what's happening right there in the camera. Just like that. And I'm gonna hit that that corner just a little bit. But just that little touch, man. Do you see that turn from that dark orange, that brown, really warm orange, that little bright spot? Makes a big difference. And we're gonna come here. Getting framed for you guys. I gotta turn my air compressor on, sorry. Come in this way, and I'm gonna just hit that edge. I gotta wait for the air pressure to build up, because if I try to spray it with low air pressure, it's not gonna atomize well. It's gonna on there spotty. So it didn't take long to build up. So now I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna hit that just barely. It doesn't take a lot with this bright color. And I also forgot to mention that in the previous step, that another reason I overthinned the paint, because I don't want to hide all the shading I've done. It's going to show through all these layers of paint. I want to maintain that. So that's really about it. And I'm going to come in the inside and do the same thing. Again, just real light. This will be a little looser since it's in the inside, and unless you're looking up the thing's butt, you're not going to see a lot. But just to keep the edges consistent. But that's it. So let me show you the difference between this one and the one I didn't do that on. Can you tell the difference? It's subtle, but it's there. It shows up better in person. But I think it looks pretty sharp. You can really see that highlight right along the edge. And you can see a little bright spot right on that tip, how that just kind of pops that out. Another look from this way. So let's do another piece real quick before my battery dies on me. We're going to do the same piece again, since I try to do the same pieces right in a row, that way I can compare them relatively quickly. Because if I did like this piece and then I did a different piece from a different part of the armor, well, by the time I got to the second one of these, this would have dried down, and it'd be really hard to compare the colors. You have to compare them pretty much right after you spray them, because as they dry down, it gets darker, and it's harder to tell if you have the same application or not. So again, we're going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to kind of spray right just along that edge, and I'm barely putting it on. I'm going to hit that corner right there just a little bit. Boom, just like that. Doesn't take much. Just a little bit. Just like that. I am starting from the tip though and working my way back this way. So remember in that first part I said I was using this part of the fan spray? Well, now I'm only using this part. Very edge of the spray pattern. Most of my paint is going off into the distance. I'm catching just the very bottom edge of that spray pattern. And that's something you just gotta kind of, if you want to do this, you gotta practice it. Take some practice to get this down. It's really about airbrush control and trigger control. So there you go. We'll do the inside again like we did the other piece. And again, this can be a little looser. And now let's compare the two. Let's see how close we are. This one may have dried down a little bit already, but they should be pretty good. That looks good to me. So that's oh, see, now look at, if you look on this right part, I got a little more yellow on the top, so I'm gonna hit this one just a little bit more, just right on the top. I'm gonna give just one more little spurt of paint, not much, just that's it. That's all it takes. And now they're closer to. Now they're closer. So nice little tutorial there on how to kind of do fade jobs. Let me do the shield, because that'll be a good one. I'm going to probably take this on the shield. I may take it up a little bit higher since it's such a big piece. But again, I'm kind of doing the exact opposite. I'm spraying away from the piece, just using the very edge of that spray pattern rather than spraying towards the piece. You see, I'm really spraying in one direction. I start applying paint here and I stop here. I'm not going back and forth. And I want that tip to kind of go pretty much yellow, so I'm going to give it a good spurt. They're pretty good. I'm going to bring it up I'm going to bring this highlight all the way up. I'm really going to define that shape. And then we're going to do the underside. Again, this can be a little looser. Make sure when you do this, don't forget the edges, because what will happen is if you don't hit that edge, you'll have this nice fade job on the top and the bottom. You'll have this screaming straight edge of color different. You'll just have that base color and it'll be like a straight line. It'll look really weird. So that's the back side. There's the front side. Looks pretty good. And also on the shield, I did do the top section, so I'll do that real quick before my battery dies. And another thing, when I'm spraying, I have this bright light on here, but I'm spraying an indirect light. What that means is, so if I'm spraying direct light, I get to see that nice little glare. I don't want to do that because I can't see what the paint's doing. You have to shoot an indirect light. So if I shoot there, I can't see the paint. If I shoot there, you can see where the color differentiate, the different colors are. I can spit it out. So I always spray an indirect light when I'm doing color. I do the exact opposite when I'm spraying clear coats. I spray in direct light so I can catch a highlight and see how smooth it's going on. So there's that one. So we'll do the other one right now so I can compare the two and make sure they're similar. And then we'll continue doing this process tonight. And this whole process, if I wasn't doing a video, between doing both these colors, an hour max to do the whole kit. And now not every single piece is getting the stage treatment. Basically, anything that's kind of pointy is kind of getting the fade treatment. So let's see how this looks. It's pretty good. So as always, thanks for watching, guys. Oh, I do have to mention that I do have one snafu. I have lost. There's a piece that goes inside the head that holds the mono eye. I've lost that part. I have no idea where it went. It's really tiny. So I'm going to put a little post on the Facebook. And if anyone has the Neo grade conversion kit or a recast of it and has that little piece, I'll pay you to send it to me so I can cast it, and I'll send it back to you. That'd be really awesome. That'd help me out a lot, because otherwise I have to figure out a scratch building solution and I don't know what I'm going to do. So anyway, thanks for watching. It's Matt Morozic, aka MVM397. Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching as always. Catch you guys later.